and welcome to another video. Now this is class number 4 of 7 in the Chakra series that I'm taking you through, and today we'll be looking at the heart chakra. It's obviously in relation to your actual heart. Let me just close the door here. Okay, so your heart chakra. When it's unbalanced, you feel lonely, you might feel jealous, critical, you might have heart and lung problems, it gets blocked by stress, illness, and emotional trauma, and being upset. So, on the other side though, when everything is all good and it's in balance and working and everything's flowing beautifully, the prana is flowing wonderfully through your body, you feel joy, love, compassion and connection. You can feel empathy, and let's see today if we can go some way to rebalancing. I'll be moving the camera back and forth as usual, because as you can see, only a small space here. Let's do a little bit of a warm-up, just a little bit of stretching, just to get some movement going, and then we'll move into the actual class content. So get yourself nice and comfortable. I'm going to reach up and then take your arms down. You can flow with your breath here. Maybe allow the eyes to relax. Breathe in and breathe out. Do one more. All the way up and down. Lovely. We'll take one arm over the front. Whilst we're just working through these gentle movements to wake the body up a little bit, I'd like you to take this time, other side, to maybe dedicate your practice today to somebody important to you. I'm going to take the hands behind the back, placing the fingers, pressing them away, opening out the front of the body, shining the heart forwards, and relax. Now this person, it could even be yourself. We're going to take the hands forward, pressing the hands away, palms facing outwards. Lovely. We're going to move on to stretching the legs a little bit. So placing the hands on the floor comfortably, either by your sides or behind you. We're just going to flex the feet. Again, you can allow your eyes to close. Bring your awareness of how your body is feeling. We're going to rotate the ankles one direction for maybe 4 or 5. And then we're going to go back the other way. And then after this, we're going to move to standing. And we're going to walk the feet. Just going to close this little thing here that's getting in my way. There we go. Lovely. So come on up. Bring yourself up to standing. Let's take this back a little bit if I can. Yeah, that should be better, hopefully. Sort of. I'm going to turn side on, so hopefully you can see what's going on here. So you're going to bend one knee, then the other. Maybe at the end of this practice, you might run through a little somatic release for you. And then after 2 more, so 1 on each side, we're going to go into both legs together. So up onto the toes, core activated, slowly coming down. And as your weight transfers to the back of the foot, bring the camera down again so you can see. We're going to lift the toes so you can stretch them out a little bit. Look. Lifting. You still can't see. That's the only problem with having such a small space. It does really upset me that I'm having to constantly move things for you. If only I had my own studio. Never mind. Anyway, up we go. And slowly, nice and controlled, we lower down. Send the weight to the back of the feet. We're lifting the toes. And then as we send the weight forward, we're spreading the weight evenly through the front of the feet, through the toes. We'll do 2 more of these and then we're getting into the content. We're going to go through some lovely heart balancing poses today. Last one here. Lovely. Okay, let's close this little intervention here. Okay, so we're going to start by standing. We're going to move into a few warrior poses. We're going to start with warrior 2 and move into reverse warrior. We're going to give dancer a little go today, and also warrior 1 with a nice back bend. After that we're going to come down to the floor. Okay, so here we go. Ah, that's a bit better, isn't it? It's all just finding the right angles. Here we go. Right, we're going to stand the left foot forward, right foot back, right foot 45 degrees, that back heel. Okay, I'm going to turn around though, otherwise I'm facing away from you. So, we're going to come into warrior 1 to begin with. So the arms come up by the side of the ears. To intensify the stretch, you might want to move the legs further apart. And then we're going to take a little back bend here. So looking up, and the arms are going back, which is opening out the front of the body, opening out that chest. 4 or 5 breaths here, please. And when you feel ready, straighten that front leg. And we're going to come again, we're going to stay in this warrior foot positioning into warrior 2. So the arms are out at shoulder level. That back foot stays where it is. Looking out over those front fingertips. And after 4 or 5 breaths, when you feel ready, take that back hand onto the back thigh here And we're looking up at the fingertips in the sky for reverse warrior. Don't forget to breathe. Lovely, bringing the arms down. We're now going to move into dancer pose, or a variation of it, on this side. You might want to move, excuse me, you might want to walk your feet in a little bit, because that back foot is coming off. But now, we're going to take the foot in the hand, behind you. I've got a cramp in my leg already. Here is where these wonderful little straps come in handy. So, I'll show you a few options. Option 1, the ankle goes through said strap, and then we lift over the shoulder, going forwards, sending the weight forwards, like so. So that is option 1 for you. If you don't have a strap, a nice fabric belt or something similar will work in its place. I just avoid, I know I say this every time, but avoid the leather ones because they're probably going to scratch your skin and they won't have as much give. Okay, option 2, holding on to the end of your trouser leg if you're wearing any. And again, you can send the weight forward. And then option 3, if this is where you are today, remembering this might change from day to day. So one day, this might not be accessible for you at all, and that's okay. So it's about respecting your body and working with where you are. Okay, so holding the foot on the inside, so this gives you a greater range of motion here. And forwards, and then out when you're ready. I'm only going to do a short one because after demonstrating all those options, it soon catches up with you. Not sure what that square is, excuse me 1 second. It's gone now, I don't know whether you could see that, but it was annoying me. Anyway, moving over to the other side. So this time, front foot is your right foot. Back foot is that left one this time, okay? So, warrior 1. Arms go up by the side of the head. Introducing that little back bend if it feels right for you. Oh, lovely. 4 or 5 breaths here. Warrior 2, when you're ready. So that back foot stays where it is. Looking out over the front fingertips. Taking that back hand, so your left hand resting gently on the back of the left leg. Lifting that right hand up and looking up at those fingertips. And then when you've had enough there, come on out. And we're going to move into dancer on this side. Okay. So, again, you have the options that I showed you before. So option 1, using strap or a belt. Option 2, holding on to the end of your trousers. Option 3, holding on to your foot. Now I know you might often see people holding onto the outside edge, so maybe the other way around. But the way I was taught is if you hold onto the inside edge, you get a slightly larger potential range of motion, and it avoids you locking out so much. Ooh. It's okay to fall out of a pose. Might mean either the surface you're practicing on is a little bit bumpy, you either need to engage your core more, focus better, or you're just having a bit of an off day. And all of those are okay. The important thing is getting back into it and trying again. So after 4 or 5 breaths in Dancer, you can come out, and we're coming down to the floor. Now we do have a peak pose today of wheel, which you are more than welcome to give a go if you feel up to it. It is quite intense, but I will be working up to that one last, just before relaxation. Okay, but before then, we are coming into sitting. And we're going to start just nice and comfortable. Upper body and back nice and tall. Feet tucked under maybe. In easy pose. So here, my feet are tucked under my legs. My weight is slightly forward. I'm just hanging out here. Again, you might like to close your eyes, bringing your awareness to your heart. Just checking in every now and again, seeing how it's going. And if you feel any difference from the beginning of the practice, just every now and again, check in, see how you are. Okay, so this is easy pose. It's nice, isn't it? We're now going to move into cow face pose. Okay, now we've got one foot slightly further over, the knees are crossed, the outside edges of your feet are just resting on the floor. The top knee, same hand goes down the back, and the other hand comes up to meet it. I'm going to turn round, and you will see that this way round, my hands have absolutely no hope in meeting. They are so far apart. And we're just going to breathe here. Also, now I move round, my body has returned itself to its comfortable sitting position, and this foot is just kind of floating. After a few breaths, so maybe 4 or 5 breaths, we're coming out, and we're going to swap the legs over. And then the arms over. But this side, I'm going to turn again so you can see. The right hand goes down and the left hand comes up, and they are in fact touching here. And it's called cow face pose because your arms turn back again. I like the cow's ears. And this lovely little construction with your legs is the face. Okay, come on out when you're ready. We're going to stay sitting and we're going to extend both legs in front of you. We're going to move into a variation of Lord of the Fishies now. So, we're going to start with the right leg extended, left leg goes over the top. And the sorry, I'm mixing up my inside and outside at the moment. The outside edge of that left foot is roughly in line with your knee. I'm going to turn a little bit here. Your left hand is as close as you feel comfortable to your lower back to support the upper body. From here, you take your right hand. You might want to use what I call cupcake hands on the back here. So up onto your fingertips, as if you're holding a nice little cupcake in your hand there. So with your right hand, placing it on the outside edge of that left knee, you can use your hand or using your elbow. There is an extension of this, and you may find it more comfortable to tuck that left foot in. If that is not the variation for you, then that's absolutely fine. Four or five breaths here. Good. Other side. So this time we're extending the left leg. Right leg comes over, and at this point you might want to tuck that left foot in. And that comes in around the area of your right glute and your hips. Right hand behind you. I'm going to turn again so you can see. Oh dear, excuse me. And then this time, I'm going to turn around once again because I've realised I am facing the wrong way. That's better. So as close as you can get your right hand to the back of the body. And we're just going to look over that back shoulder here. Again, remembering, if you'd rather, you can support the leg with your hand rather than your elbow. It's less intense of a twist here. And also, there is the option to keep that left leg extended. Very nice. Okay. Now, we're going to come into Camel. I rather like Camel. I don't do it all that often, but I really do rather like it. Okay. Let's hitch these up a little bit. So we're going to start kneeling. Okay. So, for this variation though, we're going to have one hand on our heart to keep our attention and our drishti, our focus, here. Your left hand can come down to your left heel, or it can sit gently on your lower back, remembering not to go any deeper than you feel comfortable. There is also the option, if you have a lovely block or something similar, to place it between your legs and just rest your hands on the block. That way, it's taking the strain off the body. or 5 breaths here. Lovely, then coming out, and we're going to swap sides. After this move, we are coming down, back to sitting very briefly before we move on to our front. So, left hand on heart, right hand behind. Pressing the hips forwards. Allow yourself to feel a sense of openness throughout the front of the body. Top of the feet resting firmly into the top of the mat. And then we're coming out and up when you feel ready. Okay, before we move back to the floor properly, I'm going to bring you into Tiger. Now for this, you're on your hands and knees. We're going to extend one leg and then the opposite arm. So here we have stage 1. This is your bird dog, as you may know it. Gaze is focused on the floor. If you feel you want more, or this is not enough for you today, bend that knee that's floating gently in the air, taking the hand round to the tips of the toes, holding on to the foot. And this opens out the front of the body. Again, this is an opportunity, if this is not okay for you, but you want to give it a go, you can use your strap or your belt to help make it more accessible for you. So just looping that belt around the ankle. If your hand and your feet do not meet. Keeping the muscles engaged, so we're not just relaxing into it, it is an active pose. Coming down and out when you're ready. I'm going to turn round to do the other side. You might be able to see a little bit more here. This time, right arm and left leg, bend, round. Okay, so I've got my hand on the outside edge of my right foot. Keeping the body working. The muscles are active. Like I said before, this is an active pose. If you feel like you are drooping, come on out and maybe give it another go if you don't feel like you've had enough time here. Lovely. We're now coming down back to sitting and we're moving into bound angle. Soles of the feet together, knees are coming out to the sides, upper body is nice and tall, and we're holding on to the feet. Lovely. Few breaths here. After this, we are moving down to the floor onto our front. So we are going to be prone and we're going to work through downward dog, upward dog, child's pose, bow, and that is it for prone poses. So when you've had enough of being in bound angle, I could stay there for a very long time. I really like that pose. I just love yoga. Okay. So we're going to come down onto our fronts. I'm going to start on hands and knees. Let's start with the actual, with some downward dog. So lifting up, hands are spread. The weight is distributed evenly through the hands. Lengthening through the spine. Heels may or may not be on the floor. If the backs of your legs, so your calf muscles, feel particularly tight, you might want to walk your feet, so bending the knees. And this is why I feel like at the end of this class I might do a nice little somatic release for you. 4 or 5 breaths here. So your feet are hip width apart. So then when you feel ready or you've had enough here, we're going to lower the knees and then the upper body down to the floor, elbows in to the ribs. We're going to come through Sphinx first. So that's just your hands under your shoulders. Tiny, nice little back bend here. Into Cobra. The arms are extended. The heart is beginning to open again here. And then into upward facing dog. You may want to walk your hands in a little bit more. We're pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. The legs are lifted. I am lifting only so you can see that my hips are no longer on the floor. Looking out and up. Coming down when you're ready. Back into Cobra. And then we're going to send the glutes back into child's pose. With your arms either extended, supporting your head, holding onto the feet, so holding the heels. Whatever feels right for where your body is today. I might run through that one more time as a little flowing sequence. Let's do that. Come on forwards into tabletop. Tuck the toes under, lift up into downward facing dog. And you might find, second time around, that the heels go down that little bit further. Come on forward into plank. Knees come down. Upper body comes down. Bringing the hands forward, tucking the elbows in. We are coming up into Sphinx. Cobra, walking the hands up into upward facing dog. And again, from here, for the tops of the feet on the floor, you can tuck them under to come back into downward facing dog. Now that will be something I will show you in a class in the future. Nice little taster of that there. Okay, sorry, getting a little bit carried away here. We are moving down onto our back, and we're going to come into reverse plank to begin with. So, this is a challenge in itself here. Okay, so hands on the floor, facing the rest of the body. We're lifting up into a reverse tabletop, and then we're extending the legs away. This is really intense for a heart opener. 4 or 5 breaths here. And then when you've had enough, which might be sooner than you expect, come on down. We're going to come into bridge now. So again, back onto the back of the body, into supine. This is a precursor to wheel, which I said we're going to explore as just before relaxation. So, shoulders resting, sinking deeply into the mat. Hips are lifted. Feet are far enough away that you cannot touch them with your hands. Core, so your abdominals and your glutes are engaged. They are working hard to support the body here. Knees are together. You might want to adjust the positioning of your feet so you feel more steady. With your hands, you can do basically whatever you like. They can be out to the sides, they can be laced under the body, with the middle fingers extended away. Or if you feel you need it, you can support your hips. And when you feel you've had enough there, come on out. We're slowly going to roll the spine down and extend away. So from here, the soles of the feet are together, knees are relaxing out to the sides into reclined goddess or bound angle. Taking a few breaths here before we move on. Let's see where we're going. And then you've had your 4 or 5 breaths there. Bring the knees back together. We're going to flip over one last time onto the front, and we're going to come into bow. And then I'm going to take you into wheel. Now, I'm not expecting to stay there for very many breaths at all, because that is incredibly intense. So coming down again one last time onto your front. Bending the knees. Again, you can use your strap if you like. Or you can hold on to the ends of your trouser legs. So here, you're holding on to the outside edge of that foot. The same with the other side. If you want to do both feet at the same time, let's go ahead. If you'd rather do one foot than the other, it's absolutely fine by me. Okay, so your hands are supporting the feet. We are pressing the feet into the hands and we are lifting up, looking out and forwards. This opens the chest out. And come on down when you feel ready and release the feet. We're going to move back onto our back before we come into wheel. Excuse me. Right. So, phase 1, we're lying on our back, knees are bent, feet firmly planted on the floor. Part 2, we stay in bridge if this is where you feel comfortable. Part 3, the hands come behind the head. This may take a few adjustments to make sure that you feel comfortable. Hands are behind the head with the elbows up and the hands facing the body. It takes me a little while to get up into it, to be honest, so it is by no means an easy pose. Then we press up through the feet. We're looking down to the floor. Ooh, hello. And then coming down, slowly, slowly, slowly. So the head and the shoulders come down and we're back into bridge before coming down to the floor. I can't stay there for very long. It is very, very intense. I'm not somebody who enjoys being upside down for long periods of time. I know a lot of yoga teachers and practitioners do. But I do like the intense heart opener that wheel gives you, so it's a really good one to practice. And therein is our peak pose for today. It's a whole body experience wheel. It's really something else. Okay, so now we're going to move gently into some very brief relaxation before I take you through a couple of somatic based releases. And we're going to do those in downward facing dog. So before we get there, I'm going to slow the body down. Breathing in and out through the nose. Slowing the breath. And bringing your awareness to your heart. You may want to place your hands on your chest. Legs extended away, allowing the feet to relax out to the sides. Allowing allowing your shoulder blades to sink that little bit deeper into the mat below you. And the whole back of the body relaxing and releasing. Bringing your awareness to how your body feels in this exact moment. Whether you feel any different from beginning the class. Very strong, heart-opening and stimulating practice. With your eyes closed, just going to focus on the breath. Down into the body. When you feel ready, very slowly you're going to start getting a little bit of movement back into the body. So maybe wriggling the toes and the fingers. And then we're going to move onto your right side and slowly bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Upper body is nice and tall. Allow the eyes to open very slowly, bringing your awareness back to your surroundings. You're not rushing now. We're going to move carefully into downward facing dog. Now, let's not use those today. We can use those another time. Okay. So, downward facing dog, tucking those toes under. Lifting the knees. Back into downward dog here. So, for your somatic release today, we're going to lift up onto the toes. You see my toes here? And very slowly, we're going to lower the heels for a count of 10. And we're going to focus all the time on the release in the calf muscles. So, to begin with, lowering the heels, placing your feet hip width apart, noticing how you feel right now at the beginning. we're going to take a deep breath in, and I'm going to count down from 10. And as I get to 1, the heels are coming down as far as they can comfortably towards the floor. We're going to repeat this 3 times. And by the 3rd time, I think your heels are going to be a lot closer to the floor than they will be now. Okay, so up onto the toes, focusing all the time on how that is feeling for your legs. 10, 9, lowering down, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Releasing, knees come down. We're going to take a deep breath in and out. Round 2. Here we go. See, these don't take long at all. So up onto the toes. 10, 9, really slowly lowering. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feeling stretch through the back of the legs. Releasing down. Breathing in. And out. Last time. Here we go. I'm going to move my mat again. Back into downward facing dog here. Up onto those toes. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Breath in and out. Release down. Coming back into child's pose. Releasing the pressure through your wrists. So now we're going to come back into downward facing dog one last time, and we're going to see A, if your calves feel any differently, and B, if your heels are any closer to the floor than when you started round 1. Let's go. Ready? Up we come. There we go. Now look, my heels are down to the floor. I'm hoping that you got some benefit from that. Come on down when you're ready. And that little release there has helped somewhat. Okay. We're just going to come back into our comfortable sitting position. Okay. So any comfortable seated position is good right now. Upper body is nice and tall. We're going to take one hand to the floor, and the arm comes over. You can, in fact, take the forearm down to intensify the stretch through the hips and the obliques here. And we're going to come on the other side. Come on out when you're ready, pressing your hands into the floor, using some physics, some science to help you up. Okay. We're extending the legs away. We're going to walk the hands down the legs, holding on to the tips of the toes, looking down to the legs, stretching out the body. One up and out when you're ready. And then we're going to come into bound angle one last time. Put the trousers, excuse me. So the soles of the feet together. Upper body can stay nice and tall. This is absolutely fine. If you feel this is more beneficial, you may want to fold forwards. You might like to touch your feet with your head. Maybe extend the arms away. Or you can continue to hold your head. You can walk your glutes and your hip bones back a little bit, create some space in your body. One up and out when you've had enough there. You're going to place your hand on top of your head and gently take it over to your shoulder. Back to neutral, swapping sides. Neutral. I'm going to lower the head and lift. You might feel a bit of a stretch through the back of the neck into the shoulders. Maybe even across the top of the shoulder and down the upper arm here. Head back to neutral. When you've had enough of that, we're going to go from left to right. It's 10 times in total. Last one coming up. Just taking the arms back a little bit. Knees together. Hands on fingertips, sorry. Back into those lovely cupcake hands. Opening out the chest one last time. And then folding forwards. Right, for this one, knees are together, upper body as close as you feel comfortable. And then slowly lowering the legs. Nice intense forward fold here. Looking down at your legs. And coming up and out. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. I hope that you have enjoyed that class. I definitely have. I know that right now I personally feel like my heart could burst with joy. I clearly had something going on here that I wasn't necessarily aware of. And I will be back with class 5 for you very soon, focusing on your throat chakra. Okay. I hope that you are well. Please stay safe. And I will see you very soon. Bye for now.